The Kobalt Tools 500 on Fox is sponsored by Q from Quaker State. Unleash all your horses. By Amp Energy. For energy, focus, and control, amp yourself. By Chevy, the most wins in NASCAR history. That's an American revolution. And by Allstate. Are you in good hands?
So how'd it work out for those three drivers that stayed on track in the last caution, didn't get tires? Not too good.
No, they're going to be very, very unhappy about that decision.
Carl Edwards has run off now to a 5-second lead over Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. 7 seconds back. Jeff Burton 9 seconds in arrears, and Tony Stewart 5th, 10 seconds off the lead.
And in the car right behind him, Jeff Gordon in the 24 car. He's one of those cars that stayed out. He just lost the position to Tony Stewart, and a guy that led this race for quite a bit, Clint Boyer in the 07, stayed out. He's back in 8th, 12 seconds behind Carl Edwards.
13 cars on the lead lap, all 43 cars still running, and we got 73 to go. But Carl Edwards is putting on a clinic.
There's some guys back there, though, Larry, that I don't think we've mentioned very often, but that as I look at the rundown and who's still on the lead lap, when I get back there to 11th, you see Brian Vickers riding along there in 11th place. He's done a great job of staying on the lead lap. And
he got the free pass twice, but he was in position.
And then right there with him is that 43 car. We haven't mentioned Bobby Labonte very much, but he's still on the lead lap.
And Darrell, you talked about the evolution of the tire test that Goodyear did here. When they came back in December to do one more test, the guy they did the test with, Bobby Labonte, the 43.
When it makes sense, because he gets around here really, really well, and he's had a lot of success here.
The fight for the free pass, Juan Pablo Montoya is the first car 1 lap down, followed by Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman. Newman had to make that green flag pit stop. He was the 5th place car at the time, but had to pull the fender away from a left front tire.
Kevin Harvick right now back in the 7th spot in the 29 car. He just reported to his crew chief Todd Barrett, said his car will not turn at all. And again, these guys will start making some green flag pit stops somewhere probably up around lap 270 to 275. That'll be their next stop should we stay green.
And when you run a race like this long, 500 miles, you get that rubber buildup in the groove. And that's why you have to be able to, as Larry was saying in the opening, you got to find where your car will work better. If you've been riding the bottom all day, you might want to move around and find another spot, because you get a lot of oil and debris and rubber buildup down in the groove.
Here's the drive of the day. Matt Kenseth started 43rd because they had a transmission issue. Had to change it. Climbed up to 31st to 18th. Got himself back on the lead lap into the top 10. He's the 9th place car right now, just ahead of Greg Biffle, his teammate, who got the free pass a couple cautions ago. And here goes the Biff.
And we're still doing that teammate thing, though. When you look at the Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth and Greg Biffle, 3 Roush cars, you got three Childress cars, and then you got 3 Gibbs cars. That makes up your top 10.
You know, talking about Greg Biffle, we've been talking about the Sprint Cup points, but the start he's got to the season, he comes in here 5th in the Sprint Cup points, right there in the top 5.
And the 2 Hendrick cars with the 48 not too far back there in 13.
Dick Bergman.
Well, Greg Biffle started this race with a car that just wouldn't handle, Mike. And if you remember, very early on in the event, in the first few laps, he made a second pit stop so they could look under the splitter on that car. They thought the splitter was actually hitting the racetrack. It was handling so poorly. But Greg Irwin and the crew have worked diligently all day long on that car, made the adjustments that were the right direction. And Biffle now is running in the 9th position, and he's doing a good job.
Yes, he is. He's been up there most of the day after they finally sorted through a few problems and issues that they had.
Three Fords in the top 10 now. First time we've seen that today, along with 5 Chevrolets and the 2 Gibbs Toyotas.
Look at this. Got a lap back, 48 car. Guess what?
Going to lose it right here.
Lose it again.
It took him 24 laps to get lapped from that last restart.
Yeah,
Talking about Jimmy Johnson, the 48.
He had his one shot to get back on the lead lap. He took advantage of it, but not good enough to stay there.
You know, he comes in here 14th in the Sprint Cup points. It's one of the lowest points that he's ever been in the points, other than maybe back about his sophomore year after 3 races.
Kevin Harvick moving on Jeff Gordon. This is 6th place. This happening about 14 seconds off the lead.
And Harvick, as I just talked about a while ago, he's not that happy with his car, but that's what the difference in those 7 laps on tires will do for you versus Jeff Gordon in the 24.
It's just hard to believe, isn't it, that you could have
It is.
7 laps on your tires, not very much at all, and make that big a difference.
It's almost worse than the old Darlington. Of course, we go to Darlington in May. We got us a new pavement laid down there.
It'll be a good Mother's Day weekend.
Carl Edwards leads this race. It's been a tough week for Carl. 100 points, owner and driver points gone with $100,000. It's been a good week for Robbie Gordon. Oh, and Elliott Sadler's bad day continues. For the 3rd time, he has spun and brings out the caution for the 3rd time today.
Third consecutive caution has been by this 19 car.
This one has a bit of damage attached to it. Look at the nose of his Dodge. I was starting to tell you about Robbie Gordon, who had
we're finally done, guys.
Tough day for Elliott. Let's see what happens.
Pretty much same thing happened to him the last time, but he just didn't hit the wall last time. This time gets it loose off a little further off the corner, and he just can't keep it off the wall.
And as on the last caution, his misfortune is Jimmy Johnson's good fortune. Johnson gets the free pass.
I want you to notice, though, on that inner wall there, safer barrier on the inside wall the entire length of the back straightaway.
Let's see what Digger saw.
Digger says, "Oh no, here he comes again." Oh.
Digger's been busy today.
Oh. You know, I think Elliott is mad at Digger.
Well,
I think that's what it is. He keeps trying to knock him out of his hole.
Wasn't it Casey got him before?
But so maybe it's all Gillette Evernham.
Yeah.
Now, Robbie Gordon had an unapproved nose on his car. He had just switched to Dodge at Daytona and got docked the 100 points, the $100,000, and the 6-week suspension for Frankie Kerr as crew chief. And the appeals board this week rescinded that penalty. And very good news for Robbie Gordon and his single car team.
We got pit stops. Our leader, I'm sure he didn't want to see that caution, Matt.
Slight track bar adjustment, Larry Mack. You got to give a call to these guys. They shuffled the changers and the jackman this week. Solid stops pretty much all day. Steve?
That Kyle Busch did want to see this caution. Half a pound out of the right front tire on the 18. Dick.
Junior's car never did tighten up on that lunch run. Stayed too loose. They're going to tighten it up on this pit stop. Krista.
Jeff Gordon said his car is really loose off. Also, the compression is causing it to turn itself. But he said when he lands coming through the turn, it's getting tight.
I'll tell you what else got tight was that 88 car and that 18 car coming out of their pit box. There you see the race off pit road. Stewart Harvick making up a position. Jeff Burton losing 2.
As you like to say, Larry, it's a drag race.
It is a drag race. There it is. Kyle Busch will win the battle. Now, what's interesting about this pit stop, it comes with 62 laps to go. That's just outside the fuel window of a lot of these cars.
Glad you said a lot of these cars.
We have new T-shirts. Go for Cam Security Patrol. I don't want one.
Still hanging in there, though.
Little white flag sticking up over there.